So, do you want to just tell me a little bit about your riding?
My name is Deborah Perrier, and I'm running for the People's Party of Canada in the riding of Prescott, and Cumberland.
Great.
And we are standing firm with against the transgender movement that is happening, gender ideology that is destroying our children and our next generation.
What do you say to people who say that you're actually harming children by not letting them transition?
How can you be harming children from doing something that is harming them? They can't drive, they can't vote, they can't smoke, they can't gamble, but you're trying to say that they can actually make a decision that will alter their life for the rest of their days? That's crazy. That's not a healthy way to look at children. That's not protecting children. That's grooming children.
Yeah, great. So how do you feel about them making the protests in front of a school as opposed to, say, in front of Parliament, let's say?
Well, where are the kids?
In the schools.
That's right.
They're going right to the source.
That's right. They're going right to the source, right to the root, and we have to make sure our voices are louder, or at least as loud as their voices. And so that's why we're here. We're here standing with Billboard Chris.
There.
Exactly. Who has been doing this since the beginning, and we love and stand and support him very much.
Yeah, he's been through a lot, especially so they actually push this stuff in colleges and universities, I'm sure you know of. What would be your solution to tackling an issue that deeply rooted in such a large institution?
We need to change. We need to get at it from the legislative part of it. We need to change the laws first.
Yeah.
And that's what the People's Party of Canada is going to do. We are going to repeal the bills that are damaging our children. We are going to repeal the bills that are telling people that having to agree with this identity politics. We're completely against it, and we're going to stand firm, and we're going to start at the legislation level. Then we're going to stop the funding to any organization that promotes this kind of ideology, because it's a lie from the pit of hell.
It also seems like the same group who protests for this are the same kind of group who protests for the Palestine issue. When it comes to the Palestine issue, do you know how these people would be welcomed in Gaza?
Well, probably they would all learn how to fly right from the rooftops, because they would be tossed off of rooftops. They would be stoned, literally in the middle of the streets, if they showed up in Palestine. And my idea of what happens to all of these people that are standing up for Palestine is we should load them up and ship them out to the country that they love.
That's fair. So I'll ask you, there's some people, so I was canvassing yesterday around Orleans, and there's a lot of people who bring up the issue of Palestine protests. They say things like there are political parties who don't want the protests going on downtown, and they're worried about essentially their right to protest, their right to free expression in Canada. Can you tell me how you could reconcile people who are protesting against said issue, sending them out of the country?
As hardy as I'm against that issue, what a democracy is that when we don't agree with speech or with free speech, that should lead to more speech, not shutting down of speech. Everybody has a right to their voice until they start calling for death to any kind of people. When they start calling death to Israel, when they start calling death to the West, that's when they should be shut down and moved out. If you can meet and speak respectively, if you can meet and share your opinions without wishing death on anybody, then you have a right to speak.
So what you're saying is basically the protests that have been going on in Ottawa, including the vandalism, the taking over of Ottawa downtown for months, what you're basically saying is these are essentially tantamount to sedition per se.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. That's not a democratic way to protest. When you're causing harm, when you're causing fear, when you're causing intimidation,
that's terrorism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if we from the PPC would ever do something like that, we would be shut down. Matter of fact, we have been.
Yeah.
We have been shut down. For the truckers convoy was the most amazing experience that I've had in my adult life. And quite frankly, that was the most jovial atmosphere that I've ever seen or been a part of. And yet we were shut down, and we were shut down by terrorists.
Yeah. So, what? Last question. What? There are some people who say that they don't want the PPC to split the vote for CPC. They're worried about Canada falling into the hands of communists, to put it lightly. What do you say to people who say, I'm voting Conservative, I don't want to split the vote? Do you think it's a valid concern?
Not really. We are reaching for that 40% that didn't vote last year. First of all, we can't split a vote because the Conservatives and the Liberals are one. They've got their voting base, okay? We're going for the 40% that didn't vote at all. If those people who stood up and say that they actually believe in the PPC platform, if they actually all got together and voted PPC, we would at least be, I believe, with everything in me, that we would at least be the opposition, and we would cause the majority to toe the line, for sure.
What would you be open to a Conservative majority and a PPC minority?
Of course.
Yeah.
We need to get in the House, period. Once we get in the House, watch things change.
I personally think that Maxime should have been at the debates.
Yes.
I personally think so.
Again, that has to do with democracy. If you are a leader going for any party, whether I agree with your party or not, every single leader of every party should be able to participate in a leadership debate. It should have nothing to do with anything else. That's what democracy is everybody having a chance to share their voice.
And sorry, another.
It's okay. You keep going.
I'm shooting for 10 minutes here. So the economy. A lot of people are saying things like Trump is our biggest issue right now. What do you say about that?
Trump is not an issue at all.
No.
We've had tariffs in this country for a long time, and our tariffs towards the states are even worse. When all that needed to take place in the first place was us getting to the table and sitting down and talking with him. He wants the free trade agreements opened up. He wants everything put on the table and to renegotiate. With Maxime Bernier in the seat of leadership, that's exactly what's going to happen. He believes in reciprocal tariffs. A zero for zero. Why are we tariffing anyway? Why do we have tariffs at all? Why can't we work together? We're neighbors. What we need to work towards is getting rid of our the internal trade, the internal problems that we're having with supply management. There was a post that I just recently saw last week. A Canadian dairy farmer was finally standing up against what is going on.
He's not on anybody's
because they were literally wasting 30,000 liters of good and healthy milk every day because it was above the quotas that the government put on them.
Yeah.
So where Max is saying we need to get rid of those cartels, we need to revamp our systems so that it's fair, so that single mothers can afford to feed their children and drink healthy milk.
Yeah. No, great. Yeah, great. Thank you for speaking. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully, best of luck in the coming election, and hopefully we can bring things around.
Thank you. I hope so too.
Do you have a final word, or?
Please get out and vote. It doesn't matter what you've always done. Follow your heart, do what's right, and vote for change. If you really want Canada to change, then be part of that change and vote PPC.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.